Well, hello, and welcome to Holy Week of 2020. Now, I've got some things to say that you might want to send the children away for, uh, and this is kind of a PG-13 presentation, just talking about the things that are going on in the world today. And it's hard enough for us as adults to understand these things, and so much more for children who don't have don't have all the capacity to think about these things. So you might want to send them off to play, and I will say what I need to say here. And of course, I want to tell you that I take this whole situation very seriously, and I hope you do too. Maybe back in mid-January, I saw things unfolding in China. I thought, well, I'll get it under control. It's no big deal. And then maybe 6 weeks ago, I thought, oh, it's just the flu. I mean, what's to worry about? Well, in the last 4 weeks, I've been a bit less sanguine about the whole thing. And uh, it's important, I think, that we take it seriously. Not trembling in fear, but acknowledge it for what it is. I think a lot of people are just in denial over what's going on. They don't want to think about it and just keep up their daily lives as best they can. And the problem is a lot of people are still doing things that we've been asked not to do. And I think it's important that we listen to what we've been told to do by the government, by health officials, and do it. We have to wake up, smell the coffee as it's on, and do what we have to do. I'm in a bit of a quandary because I'm told on one hand to keep the church open and to have the church open for confessions or whatever, for adoration, or to bring people together for confession somehow. Then on the other hand, I'm told by the President of the United States and the Governor of the state of Michigan that people should stay home unless they have one of these very particular necessities. If they need to go to work, if they need to get food, if they need to get medicine or medical care, if they need to check on someone who's in need some way, that these are the reasons why people should be going out and about. And so, what do I do? We could say, well, the government should not, or religion should not be subordinated to the government. And I think in most cases that's absolutely true. But I think in this case we need to listen to them. And we might say, well, I'm not going to listen to the president, or I'm not going to listen to the governor. Fine, don't. But there are other voices that are saying the same message that we, I think, need to listen to them. We need to listen to these folks. These are the doctors and the nurses, people who are on the front line taking care of this issue, dealing with it day in and day out, that we need to listen to them. Their voices deserve to be heard, and they are telling us universally, they are pleading with us to do as we've been told in staying home, unless we have to go out for one of those reasons. This is what they are saying. And if we go out and about and we say, well, today I need to get out of the house, I'm going to go to this store, pick up a few things, then maybe I'll check out that store, then maybe I'll go visit this person or that person, then tomorrow I'll go to the store again. I'll go to the store and pick up a few other things, and go ask someone over for dinner. When we do that kind of thing, we're given a big old smack in the face to those doctors and nurses, where we praise them on one hand, saying God bless those doctors and nurses for what they do, but then we go out and we do the exact opposite of what they've been asking us to do. It's given them a big old kick in the behind. And so we've got to do as they've told us to do. This is the best way that we respect those doctors and nurses. And those doctors and nurses, they know a lot more about this situation than me, little priest in little town USA. They know a lot more about this situation than any Catholic clergyman. They know a lot more than government officials. They know a lot more than bloggers or whatever it may be. I'm going to listen to those doctors and nurses and being advised what to do in this situation. I'm going to be advised by them and guided by what they've asked. Now, people would say, well, the church has never been closed before. That's very rarely does, but it's not exactly true. During the Spanish flu, in some places the churches were closed. In some places the churches were closed, but they kept the bars open. You could go in and get a drink it real quick and get out so the next person could come in. Then they'd wipe your seat down. But the churches were closed. It wasn't universal, but in many places they did because they had an understanding that when you get people together, the disease spreads. Now in the Black Death, they didn't close the churches because they did not understand how disease was spread. They had no clue what was going on. So they did not close the churches. Now, in some cases, eventually they did shut the doors of certain churches simply because everyone was dead in those locations. In certain towns and villages, the mortality was total, 100% dead. In Europe as a whole, in those plague years, just a few years, half of the population, some estimate a third, others a half, a whole bunch, a big chunk of the population were dead suddenly. And I'm not suggesting that that's going to happen here. I'm not saying this to frighten people, but I am saying it so that we wake up to the reality. Wake up to the reality that God has given us brains, and God has given us time. We've been using those brains for the 600 years since the time of the Black Death to come to some pretty important conclusions about how disease is spread and how to save human life. And we need to put that brain power to work in this case. And we need to follow what those medical professionals are asking us to do. Those people at the CDC or doctors and nurses, that they are telling us what to do. We need to follow it. We put our faith entirely in Jesus Christ. He is our rock. He is our salvation. But at the same time, we do as those medical personnel have asked us to do. These aren't two diametrically opposed ideas. These aren't two warring principles. But in this case, they work together in a very complementary way. So it's my request, it's my plea that you just do as we're told in this situation, of staying home and staying safe, only going out when we really need to, and not going to visit people just for fun or any other reason. Now, the sacrament of the sick, it is still available if you are dying. I cannot go into the hospitals, as I said before, just to visit people, but if you are dying, they will call me in, and I will go, and I will see you. I will give you the sacrament, so don't worry about that. With confession, I really recommend that you hold it until we get to a more reasonable time in history, which this won't go on forever. Maybe this summer, who knows, maybe May, maybe June, I don't know. But hold it. If you can't hold it, if you really got to go to confession, just give me a call, and we will meet together one-on-one from a distance. So don't worry too much about these things. We trust in God's mercy. We love the sacraments, yes. This is a very different time, though. This is something, we're in uncharted waters. So I suggest stay home, stay safe, unless you really got to go out. Of course, this is Holy Week, a very different Holy Week. And people might ask, well, what should I do? What do we do for Holy Week? I mean, it's Holy Week. Don't stress out about it too much. You just can't do a lot of things that we would normally do. Some things you can do is just pull out that Bible. Turn to the last few chapters of each of the 4 Gospels and read the Passion of what Jesus did for our salvation. This is something much more important than any other kind of program or talk or book, guidebook or reflection book. Read those Gospels. Very important stuff. Very good stuff for our spiritual benefit. And other than that, what can I say? Here we are. We do the best we can, but we follow those instructions that we've been given. And we trust in Jesus Christ. Keep up your prayers. Keep up your prayers. You can watch Mass online or on TV. You can watch the Pope's Masses. Those are always very impressive. There's not a lot of people with them these days, but a good source for spiritual nourishment. But carry on. Carry on. We will get through this relatively unscathed, I think, I hope, if we do what we're told. So God bless you. I will keep you in my prayers, and I hope you keep me in yours. I will talk to you soon.